Good morning, everybody. This is Michelle with Fun in Key West, and it is another edition of Thirsty Thursday. And today we are exploring the best Cuban coffee in Key West. So, you know, for those of you who have come to Key West and this is your first exposure to Cuban coffee, well, I have my cup of coffee here. It's just regular blend. But as somebody who drinks coffee all day long, I came to Key West and it was like, what is this Cuban coffee? It's not Italian, it's not a drip, it's what is it? And so I set out on a mission to learn and explore and try out Cuban coffee. And it's such a unique experience. And it just has this tropical, cool, cultural vibe that everybody just wants to get in on. And it's if you love coffee, number one, or you're just wanting to experiment with coffee, there's so many different ways to try Cuban coffee and so many places. So I'm going to list probably ones that you hear me talk about all the time. But I thought first and foremost, because this is what I experienced when I came to Key West was what what is Cuban coffee and how do I order it and it what so let's kind of dive into it. It's more than a drink. Cuban coffee, it's a cultural tradition. It embodies to me the vibrant soul of Havana and Cuba and the warm embrace of Key West Cuban heritage. So to me, when I'm drinking a cup of Cuban coffee in Key West, I'm drinking history, heritage. There's something beyond just going over to Starbucks and grabbing something. So unlike, Italian espresso or Starbucks and all of that, Cuban coffee is a very unique experience and it's got bold flavors, it's sweetened, and it has a lot of social significance. So let's talk about how you order these Cuban coffees and what they are. So you have a Cuban espresso. And here's the difference between a Cuban coffee and an Italian coffee. So a Cuban coffee is sweetened while it's being made. You're going to see them stirring it with the sugars in there. And so it's sweetened as it's being made. Whereas Italian espresso is sweetened, maybe not, maybe if it is sweetened, it's sweetened afterwards. And what it does is it creates that thick caramel on top. Italians, when they do their espresso, you've got the crema on top. And Mr. Coffee's barking like mad outside. So anyway, so but Cuban coffee has this not just a crema, but it has this just caramelized and wonderful cream on top. It's bold, it's sweet, it's got this robust zest that is absolutely unmistakable for Cuban coffee. So, a Cuban espresso will be sweet and it will have like a caramel foam on top. So, then you're going to look down on the menu and you're going to see a colada. Now, a colada is something you share. You bring somebody in and you share that. So, it's a large cup of Cuban espresso and it's served with two demi-tasse size cups with the intention that you're going to share these. And it's bold, it's sweet, and so coladas aren't meant for you to have all by yourself, or you'll be ping-ponging off, the Duval Street all day. So it's meant purposely for sharing. One of my favorite things to drink while in Key West is a Café Con Leche. And when you're standing behind somebody ordering a Café Con Leche, they'll say one or two or three, a Café Con Leche with two. That means how many sugars are you going to have? I don't particularly like real sweet, whereas we did the food tour in Key West and we found out, and this is what they said, was Cubans have a fourth or fifth food group, which is sugar. So they love their coffee sweet. So if you're not leaning on the sweet side, go a one or two. I order a Café Con Leche with two, but I've been behind people who order Café Con Leches with four. So just understand the lingo, and that's going to help you feel a little bit more at home and comfortable when you go to order your Café Con Leche. So the Café Con Leche, think of it as a sweetened latte. So it's Cuban espresso with steamed milk and it's served hot. So it's not quite an Italian latte. It's sweeter. It's because that sugar is put in during the espresso brewing time. I think it's absolutely fabulous and amazing with Cuban toast or a pan cubano. So it's that Cuban bread that just has that distinct bite to it, and it's got lots of butter on it. So to me, that's heaven every morning is a cafe con leche and Cuban bread. If you're not in the mood for hot, I get it. I drink hot coffee all day long, so it doesn't bother me. But every once in a while, I do like an iced coffee. And so you can do an iced cafe con leche. So it's the chilled version of the cafe con leche. And it's served, it's great for a hot Florida day. And it's creamy, it's sweet, it's cooling, it's refreshing, and it's perfect for, strolling through Key West in that hot Florida sun. Here's a pro tip. You can add a splash of sweetened condensed milk for extra sweetness, and that brings in that authenticity to make it a little bit more of an authentic Cuban coffee. Um, these are pretty much, you know, the standard things, but I want you to get an understanding of what they are on the menu because there's this assumption when you go to some of these places that you know exactly what these are. So you've got your espresso, you have your cubano, you have your cafe con leche, either hot or iced. You have a cafe cubano, which is similar to the Cuban espresso, but it's sometimes brewed with a different ratio of coffee and sugars. So, depending on where you're ordering it and if they have it on the menu, you might want to ask, okay, so is this one sweeter, less sweet? If you're leaning towards sweet, which one are you going to go towards? So don't be afraid to ask questions. This is one of the things that I've had to learn as I've been traveling and exploring is it's okay to ask questions if you don't know what something is on the menu. My husband Kevin, man, he asks all kinds of questions and at first I was like, "Oh, you're embarrassing me." But I've learned that it's okay to ask questions. Um so then you've also have a bucci, which is a double shot of Cuban espresso. But a bucci isn't a cubano, which is something meant to share. This is just for you. So you can have a bucci. So you can have a bucci or a double bucci. And again, there's some sweetness to it. These are not unsweet. So, kind of, I hope that gave you a little bit of an overview of what they are. Again, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, can you explain the difference between a bucci and a cubano and a cafe con leche? And I can tell you, everybody behind the counter would be more than happy to explain that to you. So again, Cuban coffee is a lot different than Italian espresso because of how it's sweetened and when it's sweetened in the process. And understand that just like Italian espresso, um, Cuban coffee is meant as an experience that you share with people, or it's where you take that moment in the morning and you have those moments of reflection. I love to sit at the Cuban Coffee Queen on the Duval, the Key Lime Square location, and just sit there and have my Cuban bread and my cafe con leche and just reflect on what a wonderful day I had the day before and the wonderful things that I'm going to do that day. And so to me, much like Italian espresso, Cuban coffee is an experience meant to be shared. So remember that. It's a little bit stronger. It's got some sweetness to it, a smokiness. So, like I said, when you go to order your Cuban coffee, don't be intimidated by the names and the processes. Like I said, most places would be more than happy to explain this is that, and if you tell them what you're looking for, they more than likely will say, "Oh, this is what you want. Try this." If you want to be more prepared, like I tend to lean and not want to ask too many questions, you know, you can always come back to this. I've got a ton of information over on FunInKeyWest.com or go to Mr. Google. He'll answer a lot of your awesome questions that you have. Now, let's go back to where do you find the best Cuban coffee in Key West? So, there's obviously Cuban Coffee Queen. And they've got multiple locations, and I think it's one of those places that you need to experience. So their original location has that iconic mural, so you can get your Cuban coffee, take your selfie, and then do that Instagram worthy post. Of course, there's Sandy's Cafe. It's a hidden gem over on White Street. A lot of locals go there. You get the authentic Cuban sandwiches that we've talked about, and so you can head there. If you're coming into Key West or leaving Key West or want to go for a long bike ride because you brought your bikes down or just want to explore, a local favorite is Baby's Coffee. It's known for its Cuban coffee. It's known for its coffee, but you're going to want to go out there and explore it and try it. And if you've been there, let me know. Put it in the comments and say, hey, Michele, this is my favorite place. This is where I go for a Cuban. This is my order and how I order it, because I think everybody always learns from what everybody else does. I always learn something from somebody in front of me in line. Of course, I love getting a donut with my coffee. So you can head over to Glazed Donuts, and of course they have coffee, and they have their versions of what you can get there. And of course, Five Brothers Grocery, they offer all kinds of it. And then you have Anna's that's out there, and they have a really cool, if you go to the one down on the southernmost end of Duval, you can go in there, and they have this really cool cheat sheet up on the wall of what everything is, the sizing, and what you can expect to get with it. So I always think that that's a neat way to explore, and how they've helped answer those questions before you get up in the line and trying to order, because there's nothing more intimidating than standing in line and going, what do I want? What do I not want? So make sure when you go to these places and it's authentic Cuban coffee, order something else to go with it. The Cuban bread, a guava pastry, a Cuban sandwich, something just so that you go full circle with the whole tasting and the experience. I think that Cuban bread in Café Con Leche is like the chef's kiss. That's absolutely perfect. There's all kinds of coffee shops in Key West that serve traditional coffee as well as Cuban coffee. So know what you're looking for, know where you want to go. Again, tons of information on where to find what over on FunInKeyWest.com. So did I get it right? Did I miss any? So in your opinion, who offers the best Cuban coffee in Key West? And where do you consistently go every single time, and what's your order? Because I'm curious. Maybe it's different than mine. Maybe it's something I want to try. Or maybe it's something everybody else wants to try. So drop it down in the comments below. Send me a DM, whatever. You know how to get a hold of me. I am Michele with FunInKeyWest.com. And as always, I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Thirsty Thursday. We talked all about the best Cuban coffee in Key West. If you want to learn more about other places to drink in Key West, head over to FunInKeyWest.com. Click on where to drink. There's coffee places, there's wine bars, there's top bars, there's dive bars, there's every place that you can imagine that you can drink in Key West, and anything you want to drink in Key West. While you're over there, also check out what to do and check out our travel partners. We partner with some amazing people that offer some of the best experiences in Key West. And guess what? I'm going to let you know a little secret. You can book directly on our site with them. In the meantime, you guys have a great day. And hey, we'll talk to you later.